At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
All right, so I'm 20 minutes late, but hey, you know what they say, better late than never. So that's what we're going with here. I went to go hit the stream and everything like that, and I got all these error messages. It was a complete and total mess. Technology. It's really, technology is awesome, but every once in a while it decides not to cooperate, and well, thank goodness I have a nice little safety net, and I was able to call a buddy of mine who is my unofficial tech support. And he was able to get me up and running. I'm learning things though. I'm learning as we kind of go along here, and hopefully, not hopefully, next time when that happens, I'll know exactly what to do. So it's perfect. It's all good. All good. We are here this morning. So let's get right into it, folks, and get you right to the forecast because, again, we are kind of getting that late start. For those of you who want to know what's going on, let's get you right to the forecast. We're going to start off with those current temperatures out there right now, and we're sitting at about 70 degrees for Redding, 66 in Red Bluff, 64 degrees in Chico. So still fairly mild, but it definitely is cooler out there than we've seen here the last few mornings. Now, we take a look at the visibility, and it looks like we are looking at still some of those low clouds hanging out along parts of the coast. There you can see just north of Trinidad at Elk Country, we are seeing, looks like a couple of clouds out there, but if we look at what it looks like in Crescent City, we're looking at a lot of those clouds just beginning to kind of break up. So you can kind of see here, top right corner of your screen there, just a few clouds. Way off in the distance, you see that line of the blue sky, and then you see the kind of the clouds. That's kind of the fog that we're seeing off into the ocean. And so we've got the low visibility out there, but elsewhere, looks like we are, especially along parts of the coast, looks like things are starting to kind of clear out. But still, the visibility has been reduced in some areas here along the coast. And we look at the temperatures we saw yesterday. Boy, Chico, a high of 90, as well as Oroville, of course, thanks to that south wind. A bit of a delta breeze there. Not so much for Redding with a high of about 97 degrees. Temperatures were still pretty warm in the mountains yesterday, still in the 90s there in many locations, but that is going to change for today. So out the door this morning, looks like those temperatures are going to be in the upper 60s to around 70 in the valley. We're talking temperatures in the mid 50s for mid to upper 50s for most of the higher elevations, and for the coast, temperatures in the upper 40s. I want to mention there is a fire weather watch, but it won't take effect until tomorrow evening and will last through Monday. Now, the key factors as to why the Weather Service issued this is because of the winds and the humidity, not necessarily because of the temperatures. A lot of times when we have these red flag warnings and fire weather watches, it's because of the heat, wind, and dry conditions. But the heat isn't necessarily going to be a factor in this fire danger that we're going to be experiencing. But with that said, there actually is going to be some high fire danger for today. In fact, higher fire danger today than what we'll see here throughout the weekend. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Right now, the winds aren't doing much, but they will be picking up. And in fact, look at around the afternoon, especially in Tehama County. So north end of the valley, Tehama County, we're looking at gusts easily upwards of 25, 35 miles per hour, and maybe even approaching 40 miles per hour. So with those winds, with the fuels that we have out there, and the dry conditions, we're going to have high fire danger out there today. In fact, you can take a look at that fire weather risk, and that's combining the temperature, the winds, and the humidity. So temperature is still in the 90s for the valley, and that's why we have that high fire danger along with those winds and very dry conditions. So the big picture is showing that there's a big swirling area of low pressure over the Gulf of Alaska. There's another one behind that one. All of that activity is moving eastward and will continue to flatten out the ridge of high pressure. But the one coming in behind it will actually drop down closer to us, dropping our temperatures down a bit. Now we will start to see a lot of the low clouds and move out. We're already seeing that along the coast, and some high clouds kind of filtering in later this afternoon, even for parts of the valley. But I do expect to see dry conditions across the board. So here's your weekend at a glance, starting with today for your Father's Day weekend. And in the Valley, for Redding in particular, you're talking temperatures in the upper 80s for your Saturday and Sunday. For Weaverville, you're going from 83 today to the mid to upper 70s on Saturday and Sunday. Maybe you're out on the coast, not going to see much change there. Temperatures mainly in the upper 50s under partly to mostly cloudy skies. And for Mount Shasta, you're going to see about a 10-degree drop from today into the weekend. And for Alturas, temperatures in the low 80s today, upper 60s to about 70 degrees here for Saturday and Sunday. And for Susanville, you're also going to see that nice drop in temperatures from today to tomorrow, 81 on Saturday, even cooler on Sunday with a high of about 79 degrees. So for today, just looking at the big picture across the region, low to mid 90s in the Valley. That's still just slightly above normal for this time of the year, but we are watching those temperatures drop. Temperature today, instead of the 90s that we saw yesterday in the mountains, more like the 80s and those upper 50s along the coast. Let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for the Valley, and we're talking temperatures in the upper 80s for Saturday, Sunday, but temperatures increasing again. So the peak of the cooling trend, I mean, look at that. We're down into the low to mid 80s by Monday, but the temperature's climbing back up closer to 100 degrees by the end of next week. Now, I have included a slight chance for some showers here, mainly Sunday night into early Monday, but overall, it's going to be fairly dry for the next 7 days. But we do expect those cooler temperatures kind of peaking with that cooling trend on Monday, and the temperatures should start to increase after that. Take a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. We're looking at, of course, still the mainly, of course, the sunny skies out there, and not to mention the fairly calm winds out there this morning as well. Taking a look at Main Street, Chico. Looks like the camera is frozen at this point. We take a look at Neal Road. Let's see if that camera is frozen as well. Looks like, yeah. This is going to be more of my computer system kind of not doing so well. Let's see if it kind of kicks in. No, that's frozen as well. Hopefully we get a better image here from the Sundial Bridge. And of course, that's a still camera anyway, so that's not going to be moving. By the way, I want to remind you, you can send those pictures from the free Weather NorCal app. Yesterday, I showed you an image that someone shared. I don't have any new people sharing photos, so I want to still kind of get the ball rolling here. I went for a nice ride with my son Aiden out on some of our neighborhood trails, and let me tell you, so you can see Nessie was hanging out with us. She had a great time, which was a huge workout for her because she has to now follow bikes instead of just me doing a little jog. But you see there kind of on the right of the photo there, it's called Canyon, I can't remember the name of it, but Canyon Holler. And this is a trail. This is a new concept, at least in the Redding area, where it's a one-way trail, and only bikes are allowed on the trail. So this is a trail that was designed specifically for mountain bikes. And oh man, my son had a great time. In fact, he can't wait to tell his friends about it and brag about it and have them come and check out the trails in his neighborhood. So he's very excited about it. I went down with him. I'm older, so I go slower. So I don't want to fall and break a bone. But he had a great time. It was so much fun. So again, what I want you to do is share your photos from the free Weather NorCal app. It's really easy. Just scroll to the bottom of the app, and then you just go to share photo, and then it'll just walk you through it. It's very simple. So be sure to check that out. And again, there's of course a free Weather NorCal app. Search for Weather NorCal. Download it for free from the App Store or from the Android Google Play Store. And I also have an app for Fire TV and Roku. Also search for Weather NorCal. And if you have a smart TV without Roku or Amazon Fire Stick, you can use the YouTube app on your smart TV. And you can not only watch the 24-hour streaming channel, but also watch the latest video that I've downloaded or uploaded to YouTube. Basically the forecast, right? Well, today is Friday. We got our Pet of the Week, and it is sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. This week, we meet an interesting dog, but a dog that I think will really win the heart of someone. And her name is Orca. So let's check her out. Hello everyone, Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. This is Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. We've got Orca here. Orca's been kind of a little active this morning, still kind of chill. thirsty because it is so hot out. We know it's a bit of a heat wave here.
Yeah.
So Orca here, what do we have? What kind of breed are we talking here?
So she is a pit mix.
Okay.
For sure. We have her, we think she's about 5 years old.
Okay.
So she's definitely not a pup.
Mid-age?
Mid-age. She's a cool dog. I think she would be good for a lot of families. She's not a super active dog. I mean, a lot of pitties aren't. They're kind of known for being more like couch potato type dogs.
Yeah.
And especially being 5 years old, she's not really one that wants to go out and like run and play a ton, but she does love to play, but she mostly just kind of wants to sit around and hang out. She likes walking around exploring. Like she was kind of exploring the yard, but she wasn't necessarily like wanting to play a bunch or anything. So I think she'd be good for anyone who maybe is more lower energy just because she doesn't have super high energy needs, but she can pull like a freight train.
Yeah, definitely got some muscle behind her.
She is a hefty lady.
I think so. So what do you think? I think pretty much any family would probably be good, right?
I think, yeah, she's done really good with pretty much everyone she's met. She's very friendly, very happy-go-lucky personality. Definitely, like, pretty social. I think she would be good for most families, just as long as you have at least one person in the family that is strong enough to walk her. But she's just a really happy girl, honestly.
So probably not an infant walking the dog.
Probably not.
But be dragging her across the street there. So if you are interested in Orca or any other animal that they have here at Haven Humane Society, be sure to give the number at the bottom of your screen a call, and they'll be sure to take care of you. Thank you so much for joining us on Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. Once again, I want to thank Katrina for her helping me out, and yeah, really kind of a cool dog. And you know, I think there are people who love pits. There are others who don't. So I think Orca is going to find herself a great home. Good morning to you, Tracy. So glad you could join us this morning. Again, I apologize for the late start to the forecast this morning, but I'd had some technical issues, but we are finally up and running. So again, we're not going to go into too much here. Let's get you right to the forecast. Some of you may be just kind of waiting for that. So we start off by mentioning our sponsor, which is Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games, that is. I want to thank Wind River for their support, and I'd like for you to thank them for their support as well. Do whatever we can to support the local sponsors here at Weather NorCal and patronize their businesses when you best can. All right, let's go and take a look at the current conditions out there right now, because again, it's a fairly mild start to the day in the valley with 70 for Redding. So, I mean, you could consider that warm. But, you know, you head down to the south, you're looking at 61 for Willows and Orville, so much cooler there. Temperatures mainly in the low 50s here for most of the higher elevations, although Susanville about 60, 47 for Hoopa, and there are those upper 40s to low 50s right now along the coast. So here's your headlines. It's going to be cooler for your Father's Day weekend. Mid to upper 80s in the valley. It's going to be gorgeous. Of course, cooler than that, 70s for the higher elevations. An even cooler start to your next work week. On Monday, the valley, about 85 degrees, give or take. That's gorgeous. That's awesome, especially after the two heat waves we just experienced, right? But here's the problem. We've got the winds picking up. They're starting today, eventually later this afternoon, but we're going to have high fire danger today, through the weekend, and into early next week, because mainly of the winds and mainly because of the low humidity. As I mentioned, the temperature is going to be cooler. We don't have that element into it, but when it's dry and windy, that's enough to give us the high fire danger. Now, it'll be mainly dry through next week. There's a slight chance for showers in the forecast here, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But here's the fire weather alert. This will most likely be upgraded to a red flag warning later today. A lot of times the Weather Service kind of tends to bump that up sooner than a lot of the criteria. So just kind of keep that in mind. Fire weather watch. Usually, like 99.9% of the time, we see this get upgraded to a red flag warning as we get closer to that time frame. So bottom line, just be prepared for that. Just take a look at the time frame always, right? Saturday evening through Monday. But as I mentioned, we have to remember that the fire danger will be high today as well. So as I mentioned, it's mainly because, for this fire weather alert, it's mainly because of the winds. You can see gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour, and the humidity, 10 to 20%. Now, 10 to 20% may not seem low for many of you, right? Because we talk about single digits, but 10 to 20% is very low. Even 15, 20% is low. Okay, keep in mind, you go to many other locations across the region, southern United States, for example. They've got 60, 70, 80, 90%. Okay, so very dry here. We know that. So there you can see the calm winds that we have out there this morning in most cases, but those winds are picking up this afternoon. You see that? Especially in western Tehama County. We're talking 30, close to 40 mile an hour gusts, even for the north end of the valley. Maybe not as bad down to the south for places like Chico and Willows. Okay, now we take you to tomorrow morning. Wind subsiding a little bit, but still a little breezy in some spots here. Not that bad along the coast or in the eastern mountains. But by Saturday afternoon, there you can see those winds, 20, 25 miles per hour. North-northwest winds for Siskiyou County and the eastern mountains. And of course, those gusty winds along the coast as well. Now, the thing is, the winds don't die down much for the valley. In fact, they stay fairly high, between 20 and 25 miles per hour. But they do subside in the eastern mountains, and they do subside along the coast. But by Sunday afternoon, still those gusty winds for the valley. Still those gusty winds for the north coast, and not to mention in the eastern mountains. So let's take a look at the humidity levels. We can take you to 5 p.m. on Friday. That's today. Single digits, teens, right? And also note the dry conditions in the eastern mountains as well. Fire danger will be elevated there too. Now we do see a little bit of relief for Saturday morning. Now we're getting in the 20, 30, 40% range. That's better. It's a little bit of recovery. Okay, but look at this. As we go into Saturday afternoon, we're back down to the single digits and teens. Same situation in Modoc County, eastern mountains, and even for most of Siskiyou County as well. So very dry conditions there. We take into Sunday morning. Now we're in the 20 to 30% range. That's getting on the low side, especially in the morning. The morning is when we tend to see that relative humidity recovery, when we see the higher humidity levels, but then they begin to quickly drop as we go into the afternoon, including the eastern mountains, including the valley. So this will continue into Monday morning. In fact, what happened there? Why am I seeing this again? I have it in there twice. Okay, well, let's just kind of go right into it. It's going to go again. It's Friday. It feels like a Monday to me. I had the technical issues to begin with, and now I've got relative humidity on there twice. I don't know what happened there. All right, here's a look at your fire weather risk for today. There you can see high to very high. We're getting right in about that category right there. That's because of those winds. That's because of the heat. And that is because of the dry conditions. Now, what I think you'll find interesting is that look at the fire weather risk for Saturday. It's lower tomorrow than it is today. And why is that? Well, this particular model, what it looks like is three things: temperatures, humidity, and wind. Now, since the temperatures are dropping, it's lowering the fire weather risk. But we have to remember, you have to look at this along with other things that you have to look at. You can't just look at one tool. You have to know what's going on. So we know that it's going to be windy, and we know that it's going to be very dry. That's high fire danger. You don't have to have the heat necessarily to keep that fire danger high. So I do think even on Saturday and into Sunday, we're looking at that high fire. And again, you'll notice even on Sunday morning, it's already beginning to pick up. Unfortunately, the data is not coming in this morning to take you out to Sunday afternoon, but most likely be looking at some deep yellows and oranges in there as well for Sunday. So we just have to kind of keep that in mind as we go through the weekend. All right, so here's what's going on. Area low pressure here, another one behind that. These are just moving eastward, pushing the heat down to our south. Now, eventually, we're going to see one of those, the one that's behind the current one, that will bring us not only cooler temperatures, but maybe a slight chance for showers. But look at the temperatures we saw yesterday. Even in the mountains, we were in the 90s for many locations, right? Except for Chester at 86. But you get the idea. We were mainly in the upper 80s to low 90s in the mountains. That is going to change by this weekend, and really even today. Instead of those 90s, you're going to be more like the 80s in the mountains. But there's that cooler air. This is moving eastward. This is allow our temperatures to drop for Saturday and Sunday. That continues to move to the east. Another one coming in behind that one. This one will dive even more to the south. Now, there's two things to look at. As this dives more to the south, number one, it's going to give us those gusty winds, starting as early as Saturday, continuing Sunday into Monday. But again, keep in mind, we've also got those gusty winds today as well. But that is going to drop to the south on Monday in particular, and it'll be over us. That's why we expect cooler temperatures. But as that drops to the south, it will also maybe bring a chance for a few showers for some of the higher elevations. And we'll take a closer look at that here in a second. That moves out, it will start to warm up again. Cooler air rises to our north, but not as strong. So it will warm back up to probably over 100 degrees by the end of next week. And that's why we've got the warmer than normal conditions here over Northern California, cooler to our north. So the trend, they kind of go up and down, but basically kind of going downward through Monday. and then we're back up closer to 100 degrees by the end of next week. That's for the valley. Okay, now we're going to take you into the mountains. Mount Shasta, for example. There it is peaking on Monday, and then it goes back up again, mid to upper 80s by Thursday. And same thing for Susanville. Dropping down on Monday, going back up as we go into Wednesday, Thursday of next week. And of course for the coast, oh man, look at that little spike in the temperatures there, 63 to 64 degrees. But of course you get the idea. It's warming up even on the coast, just, nothing unusual. All right, so there it is. So as we go into Sunday night, this is midnight Monday, right? So as we go into Sunday night Monday, we may see a passing sprinkle or light shower. So for the most part, I've got you dry, but there could be an overnight event when most of you are asleep Sunday night that you may run into a few light showers. Otherwise, it's dry through next week, and we'll be looking at just, a couple of passing clouds. And that will be the extent of it. But the wave heights, they're actually starting to drop going into Saturday before they kind of inch their way back up towards Saturday evening into Sunday. That all being said, the winds will be from the north at 10 to 15 knots with that small crutch advisory throughout the afternoon today. All right, so for today, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. It looks like Lewiston, a high of 81, 83 for Weaverville, 87 for Douglas City. Temperatures look at that, as you go into some of the higher elevations, you're only reaching the 70s. 70 degrees out in High and Palm, 68 for Mad River, 71 degrees for Forest Glen, and Wildwood, about 75 degrees. I take you out to the southern Humboldt County region for your North Coast neighborhood forecast. Temperatures 60s and 70s there, 68 for Honeydew, and 69 degrees for Shelter Cove. We take you up north, Ferndale, 57, 58 in Fortuna, partly to mostly cloudy skies. We've got a high of about 59 degrees for Hydesville and Rio Dell, about 57. 78 degrees in Hoopa, 80 in Willow Creek. We've got about 63 degrees for Blue Lake and Eureka, about 58 degrees today. We take you up north. 65 Gas Key, 61 for Klamath, 61 out in Orick. And for Siskiyou County, those temperatures right around 80, give or take, for Highway 96 corridor, and right around 80 degrees here along I-5 as well. Scott Valley, mid to upper 70s, even up to about 81 degrees for Callahan, 79 for Etna, and 75 in Fort Jones. For Siskiyou County, central and eastern Siskiyou County, there you can see Weed about 80, 81 for Mount Shasta. So again, not as warm as it has been over the last few days. We're finally seeing those cooler temperatures here for most of the higher elevations, with 77 degrees for Newell today for your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, with about 82 degrees for Alturas, 84 degrees in Likely. We take you south into the eastern mountains, and there you can see about 85 degrees for Montgomery Creek, 86 for Paynes Creek, Old Station about 75 degrees. We take a look at Lake Almanor and Lassen Park. Those temperatures dropping down to the 50s for the park, right? 55 degrees on Monday, but then back up to the 60s by Wednesday and Thursday. For Paradise, you're going to top out about 85 degrees today. You're down to 77 on Monday before you're back up to 91 by next Thursday. Let's take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. You've got about 94 degrees for Chico, 92 degrees for Durham today, 94 in Red Bluff. The temperature dropping down to the low 80s by Monday. But yeah, we're getting closer to 100 degrees by the end of next week. 92 degrees for City of Shasta Lake, 94 in Redding, 93 for Cottonwood. And there's your 7-day outlook for Redding. I've got Father's Day on the right day today. That is Sunday. I had it on Monday for some reason, at least, but only for Coffee with Krueger. I'm not sure why. But there you have it. Beautiful. If you are planning a hike, whatever it is with your kiddos for Father's Day, looks like you've got some beautiful weather for it. I mean, upper 80s is not bad for this time of the year. That's actually below normal. And then 84 on Monday before temperatures start to increase again, probably closer to 100 degrees by next Thursday and Friday. I thank you all so much for joining us this morning. We're going to kind of cut this one short because I did get in a little bit late. I had some technical issues. So we're going to leave you with a couple of cameras. We're going to go ahead and cue the music, get you going for the day. Take a look at some great cameras out there. We're going to start off with Lake Oroville to show you a beautiful morning out there. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday. I again apologize for the late start to Coffee with Krueger, but we were able to get up nonetheless. Thanks again. Have a great day, and we will see you bright and early on Monday morning for Coffee with Krueger, and hopefully there won't be any technical issues. Have a great weekend, and for all of you fathers out there, have a wonderful Father's Day. Hopefully your kids have something special planned for you. If not, well, you can plan something for them and have a good time with your kiddos. Have a great day and have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.